Good afternoon everyone and welcome back to the Scottish Power Women's Premier League on BBC Sports Scotland for the first action of 2025, and we're at Ochilview as Queen's Park take on Rangers. The SWPL top flight newcomers have been going through a difficult period and some tests for the recently promoted team who were champions of the second tier last season. If you can see the live pictures, John McNeil just to the bottom left of your screen has stepped away from his period in interim charge. Ian Robinson is the new head coach appointed on Friday evening and arrives from the Rangers setup where he was under 17 coach. So let's have a look at the team news for both teams as they get ready to kick off the league action again after the break. Key players for Queen's Park such as Ellie Kane, Emma Craig and Olivia King have all left. New additions Leah Daly, Ellie McDonald and Dion Brown all come in. Dion Brown has featured a couple of times as a trialist this season. Now her signature has been secured. Millie Payton is missing due to her loan from Rangers, and lone goalkeeper Miley Magle is on the bench. Rangers and Joe Potter want to complete a mini reset after back-to-back defeats before the break. It's a very attacking lineup with Brogan Hay, Rio Hardy, Kirsty Howitt and Mia Macaulay all looking to fire Rangers back to winning ways. Rafferty returns to the back line to steady a defence that has conceded 6 goals in their last 2 league games. So both teams going through a tough period in the SWPL, but both fighting at opposite ends of the table. It was always going to be a difficult task for Queen's Park this season with the change to the format and extra relegation from the top flight, whereas Rangers, after missing out on the SWPL title last campaign, have their eyes set on claiming that trophy once again this season, but they do require a bit of a shake-up after unfamiliar back-to-back defeats. As we await the teams at Ochilview, I'm delighted to say that current member of the Hearts coaching staff and former Aberdeen manager Emma Hunter joins me on commentary this afternoon. Emma, tests like this can happen in a season for teams no matter where you are in the table, but just how difficult of a campaign is this for Queen's Park?
Yeah, you're right, it's a test probably for both teams this season. In particular, you've mentioned Queen's Park, a lot of change. I think the players that you mentioned are key players that have been really key players for Queen's Park. So Ian's coming in with a new squad, but not only that, they're missing some of their key players who have gone to Partick Thistle. But today, he just needs to take the pressure off the players. There is no pressure probably here today for him and the players to beat Rangers. So he just needs to look for a good performance, see what he's got, and try and get the best out of his squad today and put on a really good performance and make it difficult for Rangers today.
January, a key time through the season, but it's also a difficult time because there is an expectation that you are able to try and get some additions to your squad, but that's always easier said than done. But there has been a few changes for the Spiders as Abby Callahan leads out Queen's Park on your left. Nicola Docherty, the Rangers captain, on the right, will be fully focused with her teammates on picking up 3 points this afternoon. There is the Queen's Park team. As Nicola Docherty goes down the line for the handshakes with the match officials too. Be interesting to see what the early instruction is from Joe Potter for Rangers, because they've had that time away, a chance to regather things, and there is Chelsea Cornett, who will be looking to pull off potentially another wonder strike like she did recently in 2024 in the derby against Celtic. Joe Potter is always focused as Rangers manager, and there she meets Ian Robinson, the new Queen's Park head coach. He's coached at Greenock Morton and Partick Thistle, and assisted by David Brownlee, who has almost 100 senior appearances of experience to his name. And we're both coaches with the Rangers under-17 setup. He knows it's a big challenge to keep the Spiders in the top flight, but he believes that they can do it if they get the basics right from here. Abby Callaghan, the Queen's Park captain, there with Nicola Docherty. Callaghan, a former Motherwell forward, has been here since 2021. Number 24 there on your screen, with McLaughlin, returns back to the Rangers team. Still only 20 years old, but it's been a key influence since she arrived on loan initially, becoming a permanent signing. Some last few words for the Queen's Park players. A tough challenge ahead this afternoon, but like Emma Hunter explains, there is no pressure for Ian Robinson's team to pick up points. It will all be about the start of a new era for the club with new leadership, and just looking to set that shape and set the instruction for the Queen's Park coach right.
I think, having heard what he talked about pre-match, Ian, he talked about defending really well, having good structure and aiming to try and hit Rangers on the break when they can.
Queen's Park ready to kick us off. And it's absolutely brilliant to have the Scottish Power Women's Premier League back in action. It's already kicking off in a loud fashion. Darcy Molly thumping the ball into the stand. So even the spectators having to be on their toes early. Eddie out wide for Hay. Rangers shooting from right to left in the blue. Here's Rafferty. Docherty. It's not many better around for experience and leadership in getting Rangers out of the run, you could say, that they're in of those back-to-back defeats. McLaughlin looking to conduct centrally. Docherty wide. McLaughlin will look to stretch the game. Now Leah Eddy, the former Hibs defender. Out for Hay. Early crossover, and is looking to tease it in for Hardy, and it's turned behind by Hannah Cunningham, and Rangers have an early corner.
Yeah, a quick start from Rangers, and something that I think you would expect. I think Joe will want Rangers to go out today and show what they're capable of, and get as many goals today as they can, and show how clinical they can be.
Howitt back for Hay, and there's Eddie just trying to angle it into the top corner. An encouraging start from Leah Eddy and Rangers.
Yeah, and you can see that already. You can see the shape of Queen's Park at the back. They're a 3, but then dropping into a 5, so it's a 5-2-3 in a sense. So it's a low block, making it difficult for Rangers to try and play through. So Rangers really need to try and utilise those wide areas, which they have already.
Early pressure applied, but the free kick is awarded to Queen's Park. It's Lizzie Arnott's 15th SWPL appearance of the season, wearing that number on her back. Scotland international maybe doesn't take the headlines in goal scoring with the players she has around her now in the team, but she's still also important for Joe Potter. Here's Leah Eddy. Chelsea corner offering. Rafferty looks up, tries to clip it out for Docherty. It's well stopped by Morgan Hay. Rafferty back for Eddy. Two lone defenders now forward for Howitt. Cornet looks to cushion it quickly. Callaghan did well on the charge low. And it's loose and well picked up by Queen's Park. Brown strong in the challenge, but Rangers come out on top. Arnott. Lovely through ball for Cornet. Around the goalkeeper. Oh, and she stabs it wide. A rush of blood to the head for Chelsea Cornet, who thought she had less time than she had, and stabs the ball wide.
Yeah, she'll be so frustrated she didn't take that chance. I think maybe just ran out of space, and the goalkeeper coming out, maybe doing quite well. Maybe could she have got her left foot onto it and actually put it into the back of net, but a great run initially to get on and stay on side, and the ball is really inviting there for Chelsea Cornet to get that chance.
The Rangers move again. Cornet now for Hay. Deep cross, drops to Hardy, and there's Molly clearing away. Another Rangers corner, but heavy Rangers pressure. Taken quickly. Hay does well. Slips it up. Rosie McQuillan will play a key part in any Queen's Park counters this afternoon. Rafferty stops. Now Lizzie Arnott will just cool things down, allow Rangers to regain their shape and try and stamp that control once more. You can see Rangers trying to use the spaces and really get the Spiders moving and use their legs to try and tire out this afternoon's hosts, but Rosie McQuillan on a couple of occasions has shown that fire to try and win the ball back.
I think you can feel the intensity in here in the stand from both teams. You can tell that Queen's Park are playing under a new manager, want to show what they're capable of. They're really energetic, and Rangers have really started this game really quickly here too.
It's so important for both because Queen's Park want to use that revitalised sense around the club, and Rangers know they need to get back onto the points board. It's also an opportunity for Joe Potter's team to give that early statement with league action back before Glasgow City kick off a half hour later at 1 p.m, and then before Celtic play 2. There's also a couple others up towards the top end of the table in Hearts and Hibs. Hearts not in action due to the weather. Arnott. Cornet. And now Rafferty. Will look out right for Brogan Hay. That invites Leah Eddy forward on the touchline, but central for McLaughlin. Well won though. It's a chance for Ellie McDonald to peel away and looks to time that through ball for Amy Robertson. Hay now clips that one forward. Howitt battling into the box, turned away by Bonner and thumped clear. Howitt. Queen's Park staying solid once again. Now Docherty. Touch for Mia McCauley. Eddy. Thinks about the cross, fires it in for Hay. McLaughlin uses it well. Eddy will cross now and gets height on it. McCauley was leaning back. The referee spots a push and awards Queen's Park the free kick.
I think that's where Rangers can get some success. You see that if Leah Eddy or Nick Docherty on the other side can go up and support Lizzie Arnott or Brogan Hay on the other side and create 2v1s. A great cross from Leah Eddy in there, and maybe hands on the back, I think, and you can't get away with that now in the game. So yeah, I think Rangers need to be patient. You know, Queen's Park, in terms of not being a full-time team, will tire as the game goes on as well. So Rangers need to try and switch the play and open the game up as much as possible.
He's moved well. Cornet has it now. Space for Nicola Docherty. Arnott offers the help. She'll swing the ball in, it looks threatening, and it goes all the way through. The run from Rio Hardy put off Lauren McGregor. And Lizzie Arnott, with that wicked right foot, whips the ball into the box. It bounces into the back of the net, and it's an early Rangers lead. Queen's Park 0, Rangers 1.
And that's exactly what Lizzie Arnott can do, and probably why you're putting her on today and getting those crosses into the box on the wide areas. And you're right, it was a fantastic cross. Difficult for the keeper whether to come out. Did Rio Hardy get a touch? I think she's shaking her head saying no there, so she's maybe letting Lizzie take that goal.
Will be Lizzie Arnott's 4th SWPL goal of the season. Her last league goal for Rangers was either sub in October's 2-0 win against Motherwell. And we did highlight her earlier of her importance, and sometimes not as involved as she was earlier in the Rangers career, but still plays a huge part. Here she is again, looking to cause more danger. There's the cross. And that one whipped away by Rosie McQuillan. And it'll be interesting to see how Queen's Park react to going behind now.
Yeah, just about to say that. I think now Queen's Park, I know it's an early goal. They need to try and, settle, make sure that they don't let Rangers any other clear-cut chances, build some confidence and get back into the game. But you can see Rangers are really up for this game.
And some shouts for a Rangers penalty there as Hardy went to ground. The referee shaking his head. Eddie floats the ball over to Docherty on the opposite side. Here's the Rangers goal scorer. Great vision to see Brogan Hay in space. Macaulay. Lovely footwork and goes for goal. Taken by McGregor.
It's maybe something that Rangers have reflected on over the break and chatted about, the amount of chances that they're creating in games and taking those opportunities.
And that's brilliant reactions from the goalkeeper. Rangers looking to keep the heat on. It's Hardy. Macaulay now offered it. Here's Arnott. Can't steer it through. But the pass back into the box causing all sorts of trouble for the goalkeeper. But McGregor did ever so well and keeps the score at 1-0 to Rangers. McLaughlin now turns away from McQuillan. Hammered away by Cunningham. Only as far as Nicola Docherty though. Cornet twisting. Through ball, stopped by Hay for a moment. Arnott cut back. Macaulay tucks it away superbly. Steering the ball away from McGregor. And it's a quick fire double for Rangers early as they return to SWPL action. Queen's Park 0, Rangers 2.
Great finishing at the bottom corner by Mia Macaulay. Young talent. I think Lizzie Arnott again does really well in terms of the cutback and keeping her head up, and sometimes that's the right ball to make, especially in a busy box.
Only 12 minutes on the clock. Rangers double, giving them an early lead. And that early cushion, that's not what Ian Robinson and Queen's Park wanted inside the first quarter of his tenure at the club. But that's what can happen. The comparison of the resources between the two clubs. They're both targeting very different things this season. Queen's Park hear the whistle for a free kick. We discussed the Queen's Park back line early in the game, Emma, and how they would line up. They were working as a 3 central defenders when they were warming up for the game. We've got Morgan Hay on that right side as well, but there's just been so much pressure from Rangers, and the movement, the passing's been on point.
Yeah, it's a back three, but for most of the game becomes a back five. But you're right, I think it's the two wide players that are going to be pivotal in this game. You can see that they're doubling up. You've got runners. For me, Queen's Park just need to be slightly more disciplined, keep their shape. Rangers do like to make a lot of movements in behind, and it's important that you communicate, pass them on, and not getting dragged in all different spaces. So it's the disciplined communication and keeping that shape is really important for Queen's Park.
Cunningham did well to step up on the first phase, but loses out on the second. Here's the Rangers captain, Docherty. Scotland international cuts it across. Stab forward. Macaulay on the charge. Early cross. Honours touch. How it takes for Rangers. The layoff for Hay. Stabs it across goal. And it creeps past the post. But Rangers are picking up so many spaces in the penalty area to create openings right now.
I think it comes a lot from Queen's Park's ability to just get the ball out of the box, and it's something that Ian will need to maybe speak to them about. Is, you know, when the ball's in the box, if you're defending it and you can't get a touch, just make sure you get it clear. You can push the game up, but just allowing Rangers to collect the ball again inside your box is really dangerous, and they'll continue to keep plugging away and getting those chances.
Brown battles with McLaughlin. And the cluster of players come together. Opens up space for Leah Eddy. Drills it through for Howitt. McLaughlin won the race. It's falling Rangers' way. Hardy puts it through Macaulay. Unselfishly for McLaughlin. And an open goal for Liv McLaughlin to score her third SWPL goal of the season. It's her first since September's victory over Spartans. Macaulay's movement threaded through for Arnott, and again very alert goalkeeping from Laura McGregor. Former Kilmarnock Motherwell stopper has been so important for Queen's Park in different situations around the penalty box already in the first half to keep the score down.
Yep, she's done well.
There is the half-time whistle. And Queen's Park would have felt a bit better if they were going in only 3-0 down, but it's 4 at the interval. Lizzie Arnott opening the scoring as she whipped in the ball with her right foot from the left wing. McGregor misjudging the flight of the ball, and Rangers took an early lead. Mia Macaulay added a second shortly after, and then Liv McLaughlin in on the act. But then Joe Potter's side had to wait to the end of the first half to add to their goals, with Rio Hardy placing the header beyond Laura McGregor in the Queen's Park goal. Be an interesting team talk for Ian Robinson at half-time. If you're late in joining us, here are the Rangers goals. There's questions whether Hardy got a touch there, but she offered that one to Lizzie Arnott, the Scotland international, who was happy to take. And congratulations from our teammates, and exactly what Rangers were looking for coming into this one after the break, following on from 2 3-0 defeats against Hibs and Glasgow City. Arnott involved again as Macaulay steered wonderfully away from the goalkeeper into the inside of the side netting for number 2. Then not long after that, Macaulay once more unselfish play, and McLaughlin left with a tap-in. That was number 3 for the Gers. And Queen's Park did so well to soak up so much pressure, but they couldn't stop that one from Rio Hardy. Neither could McGregor in the Spiders' goal. And that wrapped up the first half. Scoring for Joe Potter's side. Will be a bit happier to see an increased advantage to come out into the second half. We'll leave you as Emma and I take a short break for half-time, but please join us again shortly, where we'll be back with all the second half action at Oakleview half-time. Queen's Park 0, Rangers 4. Aye, welcome back to the Scottish Power Women's Premier League on BBC Sports Scotland, and about to get the second half underway at Ochilview, where it's currently Queen's Park 0, Rangers 4. An apology if you missed any of the action from Ochilview in the first half. The technical team currently dealing with a power problem at BBC Scotland, so we are looking to make sure everything's back up and running and bring you all the action from the second half here as Rangers come back out from the dressing room with that 4-goal advantage. Brogan Hay playing a huge part on the right wing, terrorising the Queen's Park team, and she'll be looking to keep that up in the second half and possibly even add a goal to her name too. She was a scorer back in August against the Spiders. Hannah Cunningham, amongst others, has been a solid part at times in trying to keep Rangers out for a period in that first half, and a bit of distance between Liv McLaughlin's third for Rangers and then Rio Hardy scoring the fourth. But Ian Robinson will take positives from that first 45 minutes for his new squad, with the head coach appointed in charge on Friday evening and just looking to sort the basics out amongst the Spiders. There's been a couple of changes at half-time. Cathy Hill is on to take her place in the Rangers defence. Looks like Nicola Docherty, as the player has been withdrawn, which means Leah Eddy will now switch to the left side of the back three for Rangers, with Rafferty on the right, and Rachel Wright is in the midfield for Queen's Park. Once again, delighted to introduce Emma Hunter on commentary with me this afternoon as Rangers go on the attack looking for a fifth. It's stabbed into the path of McCauley and tucked away superbly once again by Mia McCauley. A fantastic double, increasing our league goal tally to 4. 8 for the season now. And Rangers with an early second half goal to make it 5-0.
Really good start from Rangers. I think it's something that Joe said at the very start of the game, and again it's the same message at half time, is that we need to be relentless, ruthless in front of goal, and you can see that Rangers have got another early goal in this second half through Mia McCauley. Great finish from her, and a great ball, and a good start for Rangers.
You don't get much better starts to a second half than that, and Joe Potter must be absolutely delighted to see that. Goals either side of the half-time break, and Rangers with a key message for 2025, and a word that you've mentioned a couple of times in our coverage this afternoon, Emma, that ruthlessness is what Joe Potter's looking for, especially in front of goal.
Yeah.
It plays a big part in the success that Rangers might have this season.
Yeah, hugely. That's the first part, and the second part will be that, they don't want to be conceding as many goals and making it harder in terms of having to score goals. So in terms of the amount of possession that they get in games, and the chances that they get in front of goals, it's sometimes a difference between winning and losing a game. So yeah, you could see that, with the Hibs game, probably the same amount of chances as Hibs, but Hibs were just more clinical in that game, and when you play poor, you want to still get the results and make sure that you're getting the ball in the back of the net. So I think that's the key part. I think that Jo wants that clinicalness. She wants to be good for 90 minutes and making sure that they're shutting shop at the back as well.
He with the vision to find Howitt. Arnott arriving, and it's turned away by Darcy Molly, and Rangers will have their first second half corner. Queen's Park won't want to concede goals in a similar fashion to the first half. How it takes short. Rides the challenge. Molly's there to keep watch. Arnott away from McQuillan. Macaulay looks to conduct. The ball will fall for Hardy, who goes down. The referee shakes the head again. That's not the first time he's been unmoved for a Rangers penalty claim in this game.
Yeah, you can hear the shouts from the stand here that the crowd felt it was a penalty kick. I'd probably have to see it back again, but I thought it would have been soft if it was given.
Molly trying to prevent the ball from going out of play here. Queen's Park throw. Let's have another look at that penalty claim. The referee felt Morgan Hay got to the ball.
I don't think there was any contact. I think, for me, Rio Hardy just tripped over the legs.
Chelsea corner in possession for Rangers. That one behind Rafferty. An audible apology from Cornet. Hay driving once more. McLaughlin arriving. Oh, a wonderful finish from Liv McLaughlin. And she has a double too.
That was a great finish from Liz McLaughlin there. Brogan Hay again being the danger player, coming inside, being difficult, taking the ball right foot, left foot, and great pass for Liz. And it's her first touch and how she takes it away across her body, and then, I mean, the keeper's not saving that one, and hitting off the inside of the post and in the back of the net.
It looks so effortless from McLaughlin. She arrived at speed. The touch settled everything down. And a wonderful finish using the post to send the ball into the back of the net. Rangers 6. Haley dispossessed. Rafferty finding Howitt. Hayes there again. She's enjoying her afternoon. Cornet. Arnott's peeling away to that far side. She'll use Eddie to get the ball over. And takes once again on the turn. And Dion Brown has been one of the highlights for Queen's Park. Caught to the ball. Eddie shows the awareness. Cornet travelling again. Eddie once more. Hay. Howitt returns. Hay strikes. Not far away from Brogan Hay.
Yeah, she's feeling in the mood today, so don't blame her for taking that snapshot. I'm trying to see as well Queen's Park and what their shape is. Yeah, you can see the strike from Brogan. She almost just digs her foot underneath it, and rather than putting the ball, her whole foot through the ball. But I can see that Rosie McQuillan's sort of gone further higher up, and a slight little change there with maybe it's tired legs as well in terms of giving Rosie a break up there. But yeah, this is similar to the first half where, you know, two really early goals. Queen's Park need to settle, get confidence, make sure they're not letting Rangers, you know, get many more goals in this second half, because we know in this league, part-time against full-time, you tire, it becomes really difficult, and the goals tend to come that little bit later in games. So Queens need to be tight here. Hardy across. McGregor smothers, and she'll just buy an extra few seconds for her team to reset. Experienced goalkeeping from Laura McGregor, involved across both tiers of the Scottish Women's Premier League. She'll be important for the rest of the season for Ian Robinson and Queen's Park in their battle for survival in their first season in the top flight. Hay holds and passes for Macaulay. Hardy charging in. Bonner sends it away.
Just going back to Emma's point on the Queen's Park shape, with McQuillan moving up top, Robertson's moved into the right side of the midfield. Rachel Wright, the sub, into that central midfield position for the Spiders. He opens up on the right foot. Rafferty offers support away from Callahan. Arnott there, and then pounced on by McGregor before Rio Hardy can get anywhere near it.
Great ball into the box, so difficult for the goalkeeper to come out and claim that. And yeah, Lizzie Arnott will be frustrated that, you know, she's not got on the end of that at the back post there, but she's doing that quite a lot though, getting in the right place, and I think that's what Rangers are doing. They're getting bodies inside the box and making sure that, you know, they're getting inside those areas where they can hurt Queen's Park.
And just like you pointed out in the first half, Emma, that right side has been such a threat from Joe Potter's team again.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot's down to Brogan Hay and you know what she's doing. You don't know, she can come inside on her left or outside on her right, so she's a really tricky player to defend against. So I think she's been really creative on this right hand side here.
It's quality we all know that Brogan Hay has if you're a regular watcher of the SWPL. She's 25 years old. She's been in and around the Scotland setup in recent times, and Joe Potter is ready to capitalise on all the Rangers' pressure. And one thing Queen's Park don't want to see is Jane Ross and Katie Wilkinson with their goal scoring records, but that doesn't look too far away. Macaulay has it. McLaughlin. Eddie. How it's never rested around the penalty box. Just too much pace as she is searching for Lizzie Arnott.
No, I think you've made a good point on Kirsty Howard. I think she's probably not had a lot of chances on goals, but she's doing a lot in terms of dropping into pockets of space and linking the play really well. And I've been really impressed with her first touch in the game, and that first touch is allowing her to make that second action, that next action, and finding people around her.
Arnott asked for handball. Rangers awarded the free kick. Kirsty Howard was one of the spokespersons for Rangers returning after their break. She said the squad needed the time to reflect, and the players now feel refreshed entering 2025 for SWPL action. It was a team meeting for the players to give their thoughts around the recent results against Glasgow City and Hibs. Rangers don't want to relent in this first league game back. They want to make sure they pick up the result with some style. Macaulay's on a hat-trick if she's to take this. She'll leave for Lizzie Arnott. Arnott takes. Pushed away by McGregor. Hill looks to keep it alive. Into a dangerous area, but Cunningham can clear. Hayes swipes it back in. Bonner sends away.
Just touching on that, Stuart, when you know you want to be clinical and relentless, you bring on these two strikers, which they're doing, so you can see Rangers' intent in making sure that they put the ball in the back of the net as many times as possible today.
And here are the two substitutions. Kirsty Howard will be taken off for Jane Ross, and Rio Hardy removed for Katie Wilkinson. And Joe Potter just showing off her firepower at the moment. A couple of warm jackets ready for the two players coming off. The smile from Jane Ross is she'll be delighted to get back to competitive action once again. Queen's Park wanted a handball, but play allowed to continue. McLaughlin for Eddie. and it has to work back to keep the ball. Now arrows it for Eddie, but the flag raised against the Rangers defender for offside.
Another tight offside decision, but it's just the Rangers players just need to be aware of that, look across the line and make sure you are getting back on side. You can see that she's teeing up, and the Queen's Park line have done really well to identify the long ball and squeeze up the line.
It was 9-0 when the teams met back on the 21st of August, their first match-up this season. Rangers already have eyes on trying to beat that goal tally, you feel. Plenty of time to play in the second half. Jane Ross and Katie Wilkinson now on. Arnott keeps it in play and then doesn't. There's been a lot of disruption for Queen's Park recently with the departures of Lucy Inman, who was here, Ellie Kane, Olivia King, Emma Craig, and they were all important players for Queen's Park, and that's why they've made moves elsewhere. Partick Thistle well involved. Chloe Muir was another who left earlier in the season. She was very experienced at Hamilton Accies. As Macaulay goes through, McGregor managed to block, rolls onto the ball to deny Mia Macaulay any potential hat-trick.
Yeah, and you're talking about those key players moving on. There were players that were scoring goals as well for Queen's Park. They were capable of that. Emma Craig scoring, and obviously Ellie Kane, who last year, SWPL hot shot in terms of scoring goals. So you can see as well that maybe in that middle area of the pitch, it's something that Ian Robinson maybe needs to look out for. Can he find some players to bring in and try and get that sort of midfield area tightened up a little bit, and maybe some more options going forward as well.
Kane left earlier this month, and not only the 37 goals and 82 appearances over a couple of years here, but she was a captain as well, so that leadership leaves with her. Morgan Hay steps up. Amy Robertson looks for the exchange, but Morgan Hay will have it all to do on her own, with little support at the moment. She'll remain patient for now and gladly accepts the Queen's Park throw.
And I guess, Stuart, we talk about their challenges and how difficult it's been, change of management, but they don't look like a beaten and broken team. I know it's tough for them here against Rangers, but they're fighting for each other. They're dogged, and they're not giving up. So it shows a lot of character, and Ian will be pleased with that as well.
Well, Rangers capitalise on the spaces. Wilkinson stabs to Hay, who returns to Wilkinson. On the deflection, takes it in. Rangers have a seventh. Hay and Wilkinson both involved. The deflection off the Queen's Park defender left McGregor stranded, and it's Queen's Park 0, Rangers 7.
And that's why she's a top goal scorer. She gets in the area, takes a chance, and a deflection, and then unlucky for Lauren McGregor that goes in the back of the net there. But she gets the shot off, and these things can happen, and shows that's why she's the leading top goal scorer.
Kira Bonner was perhaps just looking to try and stab it behind for a corner kick, but the spin on the ball was deadly, as was the powerful running from both Wilkinson and Hay, charging at the Spiders' defence. It didn't take long for the changes to have an impact. Here's Ross looking to do similarly. Arnott, Wilkinson's layoff, and the flag is raised for offside.
Good link-up play from Jane Ross, and it's something that I think as a striker sometimes people expect you to go on and get in the box, but she's really good at that, dropping into those pockets of space in front, and then linking up play well and giving Katie Wilkinson that opportunity as well. So really unselfish play by Jane Ross.
Good play from Cunningham and Daly here. McLaughlin showing that other side, sliding to take any sting out of Queen's Park's potential attack. Queen's Park with a short bench compared to Rangers this afternoon with their squad difficulties. Macaulay delivers, that's teasing. McGregor's taken a sore one there and is down and hurt, so the referee will stop play. It's brave goalkeeping from Lauren McGregor, because that was a dangerous delivery into the 6-yard area.
Yeah,
Dinner part for the team.
brave goalkeeping, but the striker's got every right to go for the ball as well, so the two of them just come together and maybe gives Ian and Queen's Park a time just to slow down the game, have a chat and see how they can make it more difficult for Rangers towards the end of this game.
Macaulay's another player who's been electric for the Gers this afternoon. And Ross in the collision with McGregor, and I think the Rangers striker knew she was hurt and she had a look. What we said for Ian Robinson, with so many important players for the remainder of the season, Lauren McGregor will be a big one. Made her 40th Spiders appearance in the defeat against Montrose to end 2024.
He'll be hoping as well, obviously, with the situation of Lucy Inman leaving and then having the emergency loan, that Lauren McGregor's okay and can carry on. And she's dealt with a lot today and she's done well at times, and it can be difficult as a goalkeeper in that situation. So she's been brave, she's come out, and you know, there's a couple of goals gone in that she'll be frustrated about, but she's not let her head go down, so it looks like she'll be fine and can continue playing.
Eileen Eagle is a emergency loan goalkeeper after Inman's leave. Gart Cairn. Wright battles. Hay comes away with the ball. Trickery takes it back to Rachel Wright, and then McQuillan will hold. Rafferty stepping up. Arnott in possession. Cunningham clears. Eddie. Molly for Queen's Park. Ross. Ball stuck to Jane Ross, and Macaulay now has it for Rangers. Get away. Joe Potter's side are using the whole pitch in Queen's Park territory in this second half. Even when the game perhaps slows down in terms of the pressure on the penalty area, there's still so much movement around that middle area. McLaughlin dropping in to take here. Well, in the wider position for Hay. There's space for Hay to dribble her way through. Macaulay recovers. Molly blocks. Ross is through. Finds Wilkinson. The crossbar still shaking. Arnott twisting and turning. And Molly will thump it away. Rangers will not give up that pressure. Moving quickly once more. Cornet. Macaulay. A superb challenge from Wright. As Mia Macaulay only had one thing on her mind there. And Hill strikes. McGregor is comfortable that that one's going wide. Wright's
Done really well since she's come on. I think she's been really dogged, determined, closing people down, blocking shots. So you can see that, you know, she's come on and she's fighting for the team.
About at the midway point of the second half. Did Cunningham do enough to keep that in? No, says the assistant. Rafferty's now offside. Remember, still to come this afternoon in the SWPL top flight, Dundee United against Motherwell. That one will be kicking off shortly. Hibs against Spartans, and then Celtic against Partick Thistle. You can watch that one on BBC Alba and BBC iPlayer at 4:10 this afternoon. Hibs will be looking to take another massive 3 points and do to Celtic what they did to Rangers on the other side of the New Year and Christmas. We are set for an entertaining final half to this Scottish Women's Premier League season. So much to keep across in all the positions in the table. Brogan Hay. Good awareness from Ciara Bonner, and immediately tells her team to push up the pitch from the clearance. She looks like she'll be another massive part of the remainder of Queen's Park season. Cornet. Wonderfully weighted for Jane Ross. McGregor stood strong. The last touch off the striker. And it's a Queen's Park goal kick.
McGregor's done really well. She comes off her line and she anticipates and reads that, and again she's brave, and it doesn't give Jane much of an opportunity and makes it difficult for the striker, and she's done that quite a lot in the game today, so she's done well with that.
Short for Bonner. Right, just had too much pace as she was searching for Bailey. Wilkinson with the neat flick on for McLaughlin. There's 4 waiting on a delivery. And it finds Hay. And Brogan Hay gets her goal. And the Rangers supporters delighted with that one. One they feel she deserves for all her play this afternoon. And Rangers add an 8 through Brogan Hay.
Thought it was great play again by Liv McColgan on that side, and a great ball in behind, and Brogan Hay anticipating getting in front, and she wasn't missing that one from that distance. And you're right, she does deserve that opportunity in front of goal and deserves that goal for how she's played today. But also like to mention McLaughlin. I think she's been a fantastic signing for Rangers, and again I think she's played really well today, very composed on the ball, really good midfielder, and likes to get forward, and again she seems to be involved in so much that Rangers do.
There's another example. McLaughlin there leaving for Macaulay, and immediately she looks for that right side, and Brogan Hay again up against Daly, finds the space. Touched in by Wilkinson. McGregor knew at the last second where it was going. Another touch from close range to make it difficult, but Katie Wilkinson, after being involved in the earlier own goal, gets her name on the score sheet that time surely. And Rangers meet the 9 they scored against Queen's Park back in August.
Again, comes from good play from Brogan Hay down that right hand side. None of the Queen's Park players are able to deal with her pace. She's able to come inside, outside. And Wilkinson reads that cross, and she does exactly what you want a striker to do, to come in the front post area and gets us that touch, and shows how clinical she is again in front of goal.
And it is relentless from Rangers. They just keep switching it up, despite a couple of periods where it seems to go down a gear. They can just switch it on when they like. Emma mentioned earlier in their coverage about that tiredness and how those later stages of the game can pan out sometimes, especially when it comes to the difference between full-time nature of Rangers up against Queen's Park. The Spiders will just be looking to keep it a single number of goals at the moment. There's still time in the second half to play. None of those Rangers players look like slowing down. McLaughlin takes Tries to set up Wilkinson, and she hits the crossbar again. Wonderful movement from Hay, and a wonderful cross, and a wonderful save from Lauren McGregor.
What a save that was from Lauren McGregor, and she deserves that as well. She's been good in the goal despite the amount of goals that have gone in the back of the net there. But again, great play. What a turn from Brogan Hay on the right hand side, and what a quality cross as well. Yeah, so again, you can see the intent from Rangers. They're quick, they pick up the ball, they want more goals, they're going to keep going until the 95th minute, however long the game's played for.
Ross has it now. Wilkinson's there, and reacts for number 10. Queen's Park asked for the flag. The assistant moves away, and Rangers celebrate. Queen's Park 0, Rangers 10.
Right place again, Wilkinson. There to follow up. I thought again a good save from Lauren McGregor. I think if you're going to say anything, can you parry it away from that dangerous area where Wilkinson's waiting for the ball. Good hands hit, but yeah, Wilkinson's right place at the right time, and that's what good strikers do. And again, scoring that third goal, is it already in this half for Wilkinson? So
we'll see how the own goal goes down, if it does go down as that, or if Wilkinson will be awarded it. But Rangers free scoring on the return, and starting 2025 in style. There's a message they want to send after those two defeats against Glasgow City and Hibs, and as it stands, it feels like that will be heard around the league. And City and Celtic in action later. Hibs taking on Celtic in that BBC Alba game. Hearts not in action due to their postponement today. He winning the ball back. And Camille Lefay, the number 20 there, sub on for Rangers after the celebration of Wilkinson's goal. Cornet still vocal. Cunningham stops the cross. Rangers corner. Queen's Park with everyone back to defend again. Cluster of players awaiting Lizzie Arnott's corner just behind the penalty spot. Callahan tries to clear. He lames it back in. Plenty waiting, and he puts it right into the grasp of Lauren McGregor. And she's grateful. Rafferty collects.
you can see it now, that you can see they're tiring. So I'm looking over at Queen's Park bench and thinking, is there anyone that they can bring on? I know that, you know, they've got players that can't play due to the loan agreements, but I think there's some tired legs out there. And I know we've mentioned it and we keep talking about it. This is where the second half, and as the game goes on, the part-time teams get tired, but it's huge. It's a huge factor in the SWPL in terms of that balance of full-time and part-time, and you can see that week in and week out that, you know, the full-time players are, you know, kicking on as, you know, Queen's Park players are out on their feet. So it's where most of the goals go on, unfortunately.
There's only a couple left on the Queen's Park bench. Megan Quigley, Charlize McFadden were all named in the team sheets, but Daly has a bit of an issue now. And that conditioning late in the game that Emma's mentioned having an effect, but she's back on her feet. She's had a tough task, Daly on that side with Eddie and Hay, and now Rafferty and Hay constantly on the attack. Rangers freshening things up with those recent subs of Tesso Midak and Camille Lafay. Wilkinson Ross on earlier too. Callahan runs into Rafferty. Wilkinson sweeps up. Bailey's shaking off that earlier injury. She'll look to stop Rafferty moving forward. He cuts it out. Dion Brown loses the battle. Chelsea corner. Wilkinson trying to play back, straight at the keeper. And McGregor with another stop.
That move probably deserved more in the outcome. I thought it was great play, nice 1-2 inside the box, and yeah, you can see Chelsea Cornet's really frustrated with that finish, just the right height for the goalkeeper instead of really popping it into the bottom corner, keeping it low and making it impossible for Lorna McGregor to save.
Rangers not afraid of playing around those tight spaces. They always find a way to pull out the accuracy. Just a letdown in the final finish. A reminder, with all the action across the SWPL today and all the goals that we've had here so far, you can catch up on all the action tomorrow night with Sports Scene and Jane Lewis with the best of the SWPL action. That's on BBC Scotland tomorrow night at 7:30. Cross in, the touch from the fray, and it's 11 for Rangers. Camilla Fay adds her name to the scoring, and that's her 5th in all competitions this season. Rangers 11th of the afternoon.
Again, great link-up play from Jane Ross, and Lizzie Arnott doing what she does in a 1v1, delivers a fantastic cross again, and all she needs to do is get her head on that. And yeah, it's now Queen's Park really needing to try and just do what they can to stop these goals going in the back of the net, group together, work hard, keep communicating, trying to stay as positive as possible, and trying to make sure that, you know, this doesn't become even more goals in the back of the net against them here.
Lafay scored in back-to-back games across November and December against Dundee United in the league and against Westdyke in the Scottish Cup. And she adds her name to the 2025 goal tally. Second half touch for Essen, now Cornet. Fires it through for Wilkinson. Cunningham takes the communication from our goalkeeper. Didn't think about clearing for a throw. Happy for Queen's Park to get bodies back for the corner. Rangers left a couple back this time, and they pack the 6-yard area. McGregor through bodies, Hill thrashes it towards goal. Did it cross the line?
Yeah.
Goal awarded. Rangers have number 12. Queen's Park did all they could to try and stop it from crossing the line. Lorna McGregor is unhappy. The Rangers goal confirmed.
It did look like it crossed the line from here, but the referee made that decision, and the linesman wasn't commenting or saying that the ball gone in the back of the net, but it certainly looked like the whole ball was over there, so the referee's able to make that decision.
There was a scramble initially, and it eventually did end up in the back of the net for confirmation.
I guess we need to decide who's getting that goal, though.
I'll leave that one to you, Emma.
Okay,
I'll give you time to figure that out. The Rangers fans didn't really care as soon as they were aware the goal was awarded. And this really is a statement from Joe Potter's team. Despite the gap in the resources, Rangers know they need to get firing again, and that's what they're doing. Callahan takes for Queen's Park. Cornet for Eddie. Arnott gets the ball over. Ross is there, looks the header wide.
You could say that maybe Queen's Park have maybe faced Rangers at the wrong time in terms of that reaction and Joe Porter wanting the reaction, but from my perspective I think that that's probably something that Joe Porter will be instilling for the rest of the season, is, you know, they've been playing like this at this intensity all the time, so there's never a good time to play Rangers, but in terms of, you know, Ian Robinson's first game and Rangers having to set that example for the start of this second half of the season, and it probably is a difficult time for Queen's Park to play them.
Rangers awarded the free kick here. Queen's Park set the wall. And Wilkinson is ready to drive this. Up steps Katie Wilkinson. It's off the wall. Eddie loops it in. Wilkinson was there. She tried a spectacular. Arnott fizzes it across. There's a lineup of Rangers players just waiting.
You can see they're all still hungry to get on the score sheet. Yeah, Lizzie Arnott just coming across the ball there and fizzing across the face.
The official line for that last Rangers goal, number 12, is down as an own goal, Emma.
Is it okay?
I'll try and help you out as you keep scratching your head on that one. We have lost pictures here in the stand, so we haven't been able to give Emma another look at the 12th Rangers goal. Meanwhile, the players in blue are looking for number 13. Rafferty from the back. Brogan Hayes looks so assured on the field this afternoon. It's on the opposite side now with Eddie. Threaded through for LaFay. Kept in play. Rachel Wright was impressed in the second half. Then she's been around the ball. Stops any attack, but Rangers will go again up towards Ross. Brought down for Wilkinson. They just rushed it.
Yeah, I feel like she caught the ball just slightly ever so high. If she just let it drop that little bit further down, maybe get a better contact on it.
And it's just strayed away beyond the defence before the ball was played. Queen's Park goal kick. We'll add another couple of games in action across the SWPL. Well, we are on here at Oakville View. Latest scores. If you want to wait for Sports Scene tomorrow, then you can turn down your volume. If not, here are the scores in the other two games. Glasgow City currently 5-0 up against Aberdeen at Petershill. And Motherwell have just scored a second against Dundee United. That one beating the cold for this afternoon as well. Hibs Spartans and Celtic Partick Thistle to come. Hay driving, tucked into the area, and the plays there to tidy it up. To ask number 13 for Joe Potter and Rangers.
You can see Lauren McGregor is frustrated in the goal. She's asking questions, she's making those saves, but it seems to be a Rangers player every single time that's in and around that area to put it in the back of the net, and not a Queen's Park defender. So
the goal-scoring form of Camille Lefebvre will be another welcome sight for Joe Potter, stretching back over the last month and a half. It's her 5th SWPL goal of the season. Rafferty takes the throw.
that's what you get with this Rangers side, that there's so much interchanging with positions and how they play, that, you know, there's various players in the team that are always on the score sheet, not always just relying on that one or two players.
Arnott delivers, Callahan can't clear, Molly helps out. A tough afternoon now for the Spiders and Ian Robinson. As stated that he and his assistant David Brownlee, part of the Rangers setup, will be about trying to get the basics right. That will come more into effect in other games that are coming up for Queen's Park. They always knew it was going to be a difficult introduction for them, fully aware of the Rangers' quality. As Emma mentions, missing pieces for this afternoon's squad. They recently lost to Montrose and Dundee United, and it's games like them that Queen's Park will have their eyes locked onto for picking up points.
It's exactly what you said, Stuart. They need to think about all the positives that may be in this game. They're up against it. Playing Rangers at this time would have been difficult, obviously, but they've shown character. They've not given up. They're, you know, working together, still sticking in, and their season will be defined against those teams that are in and around them, like Montrose, Dundee United. Looks like they're not picking up points again today, so they need to make sure that they're preparing for those games, and that's the ones that really matter for them. So they just need to move on from this one, take it on the chin, learn from it, and Ian can hopefully get some more time with the players to bed in the way that he wants to play in his style.
Faye looking to get through, still hooks the ball into a path. Rafferty now for Hay. Easies away from Callahan. Wilkinson got a touch. Molly lifted it clear. Daly couldn't get a hold of that as Queen's Park wanted to attack. Corner for Ross. Brogan Hay. There's a pack of blue waiting for Rangers. Lovely movement from Jane Ross. McGregor races out to stop. Rangers corner.
Great touch from Jane Ross. She looks really sharp in there. Just her touch is really neat, really tidy. And she was unlucky there. Ball just run away from her. Difficult angle, almost impossible angle, but to get a corner, then another opportunity for Rangers to score.
He moves away into the penalty box as Arnott sets the ball. Brogan Hay will run back. Space opens up for Wilkinson. It brushes the side netting. Queen's Park, the joint lowest scorers in the league with 10, along with Dundee United, but there's plenty of young talent for Ian Robinson to work with. Rosie McQuillan, we've seen score goals in her time. Remember that stunner she scored for Spartans against Celtic at the Excelsior a couple of seasons ago. Amy Robertson showed what she can do with another goal in the defeat against Dundee United with a well-taken header. I'm sure we'll see some more of that in those games that Queen's Park have their sights locked onto to try and pick up points in the remainder of the season. Dion Brown here, a strong addition to the Spider squad too. She's not had too much action recently. Wilkinson knows Hayes waiting. He finds Brogan Hay. Didn't have time to get the shot away. Well, Middack. And there is Jane Ross to add number 14. And Jane Ross continues her wonderful scoring form. That's 10 in the last 8 for Rangers in all competitions for the striker. It's Queen's Park 0, Rangers 14.
Again, great play by Brogan Hay, tries to keep the ball up. Again, it's just Queen's Park not able to clear their lines and get the ball out of the dangerous area, and Rangers players are always just there to put the ball in the back of the net. And Jane Ross probably deserves that goal. Done really well since she's come on this second half, and a striker who I know will be wanting to get more minutes in this Rangers team and show what she's capable of.
And she did it with her last kick of the game almost. The referee blows the full-time whistle. Jane Ross, the most recent of Rangers goal scorers. And that is a ruthless message from Joe Potter and a Rangers team. They were hurt from those back-to-back defeats against Hibs and Glasgow City before Christmas. It's a difficult introduction for Ian Robertson on his Queen's Park head coach debut against his former employers. Camille Lefay making her statement too, coming on as a substitute. And there's so much competition in that Rangers depth for what's to come this season as the Gers shoot for success, still with that hurt in mind from losing out in the final day for the SWPL title last season. But Emma Hunter, a final word from you. It's exactly the kind of performance and the kind of goal scoring that Joe Potter and Rangers were looking for as they come back to start 2025.
100%. She'll be really pleased with that performance. It's probably the type of game that they could have easily come on and just been quite relaxed about it, know that they could maybe get the 3 points. But they've come out here and they've shown real quality, different types of finishes. They were just constant. Even you can talk about in possession, but out of possession they were relentless as well. They didn't give a chance Queen's Park any time on the ball. They're counter-pressing, just worked really hard, and I think it's the response that Joe Potter will have wanted from the players. But it'll be now about doing this every week against even the teams in and around them as well.
Here are the goals. Lizzie Arnott claiming the first as Rio Hardy went over to say she didn't get a touch, and the Scotland international opened the scoring. She was involved in the second as Mia McCauley sweeped a beautiful finish beyond McGregor. And then later on, Rangers' pressure continued in the first half. Hay coming close. Then McCauley, unselfish, laying off for Olivia McLaughlin to add her name to the goal scoring. Smiles all round from the Rangers players. Arnott again, deadly on the left. And a couple of superb saves from Laura McGregor, scrambling everything away as the ball was scooped over the bar by McLaughlin, who was looking for a second. Brogan Hay was involved in so much this afternoon. Hardy's beautiful looking strike was off the post, then Cornett's delivery, and Hardy pinpoint with the header to beat the goalkeeper, and that was the 4 first half goals. Rangers going in at the break with that lead. Mia McCauley added early in the second half. Number 6 was a wonderful move, Olivia McLaughlin using the poster advantage. Number 7 was an own goal, but Wilkinson made such an impact coming on as a sub, the deflection coming off Bonner. Brogan Hay involved in that move. We'll go on to add an 8th for Rangers in the second half. Wilkinson so deadly when she's on as a starter or on as a sub. Jane Ross did well to get the shot away, and Wilkinson was there to tap in as Rangers are moving towards double figures. It wasn't all about the right side. Lizzie Arnott did so much on the left. Camille Lefay scoring with number 11. Number 12 went down as an own goal after Hill smashed the ball. And did it go over the line was the question. Queen's Park didn't think so, but the referee confirmed. Lefay added another, tidying up for number 13. Before almost at the death, Wilkinson turning up provider. He wanted a stunner, but eventually it dropped to Jane Ross with the easiest of chances. Not the easiest of the game, mind you. And she added her name to the goal scoring for Rangers. So plenty for you to revisit on Sports Scene with Jane Lewis at 7:30 on the BBC Scotland channel tomorrow night. She'll have all the further action that's taking place today in the top flight of the Scottish Women's Premier League. My thanks to Emma Hunter for joining me in commentary today. Thank you for all of you at home for watching this afternoon's online SWPL stream, when it finished at Ochilview. Queen's Park 0, Rangers 14.